Hey guys, a video for our castles, temples and old buildings in Japan playlist. We were driving along a coast road in central Japan when we noticed this hill with all the trees on it. Usually when you see an area like this covered in trees, well preserved, usually it means there's a temple or a shrine involved. So we came and had a look, and sure enough there was both. So it is an old temple, but also there are shrines there as well. This is interesting. We'd seen that before. That's the old Buddhist symbol. But we hadn't seen this before. See the little figures? So often you get figures of different sizes in a Buddhist temple or a Buddhist environment. You will get lots of little symbolic guys, but we haven't seen lots and lots and lots of little ones like that before. That was a bit of a new one for us. So Buddhist symbolry, symbology, symbolism for sentient beings or something like that. So you quite often do see little characters like that. But yeah, we hadn't seen all those little ones like that all lined up in rows. So you can see it was a nice environment right on the side of a hill. Lots of old buildings, that was all interesting, but we were just curious. There was just something about where this was that got us curious. We wanted to see what was around the back. The back of this place also faces the ocean too, so I was sort of curious about the view. So we went around the back and then we found this one. And that led to this one. So we had a look at that one, and then we went around the back of that one. And sure enough, there was a bit of an ocean view, but this was what really got us interested, because usually if you get hills like this, and particularly along the coastline, shrines and temples, lots of really old shrines and temples along the coastlines of Japan. And there was this and a tiny little sign that said it's the site of a castle, the old castle for this area. So we went up, sure enough, there's this little flat area, and you can actually see the stones in rows, which would have been walls. Quite often as these old castles were abandoned, quite often they were sort of pillaged for stone. The local people took the stones from the castles and used them to make walls and houses and all sorts of other things. So we were curious. This little track going up the hill, and it said the site of the old castle. So we weren't expecting to see anything. This is really common. We've showed you this before in Japan. Sometimes you'll find a beautiful castle at the top of a hill that's original. Sometimes you'll find a copy, and sometimes you'll just find a flat piece of land. And we sort of knew that was what this was going to be, just a piece of land where it used to be. But we're always curious because the sites are interesting in themselves. They're always some position that dominates the countryside. Always at the top of the hill. They're always hard work to get to because they're always at the top of the hill. This was really steep, and there was a big drop off to the side there. It was pretty dodgy. And we got up, and there's another flat area. So obviously in the past that bottom flat area would have had some sort of tower on it. There's another tower here, and as you worked your way up the hill from here, you would have ended up where the keep would have been. So obviously it's not maintained. Nobody comes up here, but there was a sign there. So the keep was up there. You see it's flat up there. But we just couldn't get to it. It was really full on. And it is winter, so there's less snakes around, but that's really serious snake country. And they do get the nasty ones here, so we weren't in a hurry to climb up there. No, it looks like nobody had for a long time. It was all overgrown, as you can see. But it's starting to give us an idea, isn't it? Look at how it dominates the landscape. And the town below here is really, really old. So, old fishing village forever, you know, so it's one of those. And a major shipping route where they used to come, you know, until recently, used to come here to drop stuff off and pick stuff up, and old warehouses down the hill and all sorts of things. So this castle would have controlled the whole lot. So we managed to drive up around a bunch of little roads and get above it. So Nat's looking down on it now. That's where it would have been. That's where the keep would have been. And again, couldn't even get down to it. We're hoping to get to the site itself, but couldn't get to it from here either. But there'd be nothing to see. In cases like this, they take the stone right to the ground. There'd be nothing to see. Just the site itself is what we were wanting to look at. And there it was. You can see where it dominates. Anyway, there it was. More videos coming soon.